Thank you very much for the introduction and, of course, for the invitation. I wish to thank the organizers for inviting me for the second conference. And my talk will be in the same field. I hope you can see my slides already.
Yes, they are visible.
Okay.
You can go ahead.
So you present some things about my CV, some credentials, just to let you know what is my background. I have diploma in computer engineering and PhD in biomedical engineering from the National Technical University of Athens. I have served as faculty in the University of Aegean and the University of Thessaly, the Department of Biomedical Informatics. I have several papers and citations in the area. I'm also the president of Working Group 12.5 AI Applications in IFIP. I'm the vice chair of IEEE, the Greek chapter in engineering and medicine biology. I also was in the past the vice president, secretary of the Hellenic Society of Biomedical Engineering. I run the lab of computational biomedicine in the University of Piraeus. We are 2 faculty members, 1 teaching personnel, and several PhD candidates and several postgraduate and master thesis students. And you can see that my research fields are in the areas of biomedical informatics, machine learning, AI, computer vision, medical imaging, and bioinformatics. So just to give an overview, my talk today will be in the area of pervasive health and health applications. This is the way telemedicine worked in the past. We used to say that we have 2 points. Point A, where is the patient and the inexperienced doctor, and point B, where we have the experienced doctor, and the technology was used to connect these 2 points, these 2 areas. Nowadays, as was mentioned in Professor Lekaki's talk, we're talking about a new healthcare and telemedicine, where the focus is mostly on the chronic health disease management, and not only in the emergency cases, but also in the throughout care for preventing disease, for constant monitoring, not only with specific places, but anywhere, anytime, forming the concepts of modern care systems that follow the principles of what we say in informatics, pervasive and ubiquitous computing. Which means that the technology is everywhere, it's invisible, and it appears when the user needs an application, something about that. There is a lot of utilization of sensors that can know the situation. This is called the context awareness in computers. And of course, there is the need of filtering the data. Since we're talking now about big data, sensors are collecting a lot of data that do not always contain some useful information, some knowledge. So we need some filtering processes to understand the context. The technologies that are supporting that is the Internet of Things, that allows the connection of sensors directly to the internet. The utilization of advanced sensors that have strong processing capabilities. The idea of edge computing is also something that is gaining attention, since we don't need to send all the data to the cloud, but we need to do some local processing. And the main idea is listed in the last bullet. The idea is we want to bring devices to patients. At the past, when someone wants to make an examination, to go to the hospital and connect the device. Now the idea is to bring the devices closer to patients, not only in hospital environments. Another driving factor is aging. There are a lot of statistics that show the population is getting older. And I often put these slides in my presentation, which is an interesting study that shows if we have an application service that will monitor patients at home with moderate penetration and at the cost of 250 euros per year, then we are talking about a market that is more than 3 billion euros just for the member states of the European Union. So this is a business opportunity, and this is acknowledged also by the European Union. This is an abstract from the talk of Nelly Cruz, the former commissioner for digital agenda, during the e-health forum that was held a few years ago in Athens. She introduced the idea of the personal health navigator. What is the personal health navigator? I'm copying her words. It's a user-friendly tool helping people find and interact with their nearest doctor. A tool to give them accessible and trustworthy health information wherever they are, offers quick and secure access to their personal data, and tools that cannot only monitor but also detect and support the treatment of the disease, but also encourage healthy habits and prevent conditions before they occur. This is what is driving also European research during the last years. A lot of research projects were funding towards the creation of such a personal health navigator. And this is what also we do in our lab. We have developed an app and a platform that allows the collection of various biosignals and also data from the environment. We can access critical medical parameters and produce some knowledge about the condition of a patient. For this, we need a lot of sensors. So I have an overview of the sensors that we use in our systems. Of course, we are familiar all of us with the body motion sensors in the form of activity trackers that can measure our steps, our calories, biosensors, or commercial devices from the self that can record various biosignals, and most of them nowadays are equipped with Bluetooth or other wireless capabilities, so they can be connected to a smartphone or a computer or a tablet. Several platforms that can be used for collecting data. Such platforms have a disadvantage that produce islands of information, and they're not always integrated with each other, but this is something that is changing toward the future. Smart clothing and wearables and clothes that work like motherboards for computers, where you can plug in various sensors. This is very popular in monitoring of athletic activities for important football games, for instance. The players are wearing such wearables, smart clothes that produce data that are transmitted to the trainer during the match, and he is aware of the player condition. We also use home sensors, collecting data from the environment. This is a figure from a project in MIT that are some sensors integrated in a kitchen. A lot of universities are deploying such smart homes in the sense of living labs where they can monitor the behavior of persons and demonstrate or test technologies for monitoring data, biosignals, and also behavioral issues. Smart sensing floors that can detect falls of people and also the way someone is moving. There's a company in Germany that we participated in a project. It is called Future Safe, and it has such technology not only in the sense of floors, but also in the sense of mats, for having lower costs for specific areas in the room. So the idea is to monitor biosignals at a non-obtrusive way and a passive way. Automobile industry is also interested in these areas, and there is already in the market some cars that have increased the capabilities of understanding the condition of a driver. And for instance, if the driver is feeling sleepy or if he's tired, they close the engine and they stop the car. Smart toilets, this figure from a Google project that promotes the utilization of smart mirrors that can understand conditions such as the heart rate or the temperature of an individual, or the weight, or technology that can upgrade toilets for measuring biochemical instances in the urine, or also the quantity of urine that is very important for patients, for instance, of heart failure that are under hemodialysis. Sleep is also important, and there is technology that monitors sleep in the sense of smart mattresses, or we also have developed an algorithm that can detect through the snoring apneas. Apneas are linked with a lot of other diseases, and it's important to have such information. And some modern technologies also use radar respiration sensors that are chips capable of understanding micro movements, so they can measure the respiration rate and other vital signs, especially for baby monitoring or elderly care. So all these sensors are connected through the Internet of Things, and they can be used for collecting a holistic figure of a patient status. And the problem is that there are different sensor types, different vendors. And for instance, if you buy a smartwatch from Fitbit and then you change it to Garmin or Xiaomi, then your data are lost because they are going to a different cloud. What we do in our lab, we have created a common data model, and this work was presented in Healthcare Technology Letters, where we introduce a platform that allows the aggregation of data from various sensors, from various vendors. So we have described there the biosignal life cycle and how we can support the integration of data at a common data model. So at the point we have we're operating a full telemonitoring platform that uses mobile and cloud technologies through micro web services. It can be provided as well or mobile app with the same look and feel. And the platform we own can support patient monitoring through teleconsultation. We have integrated a WebRTC schema that allows video calls and also appointments in managed features. It supports a personal health record. It can collect data through the different Bluetooth-enabled medical sensors and wearables, and also integration with all famous third-party platforms like Apple, Fitbit, Garmin, Xiaomi, Google Fit, WeThings, whatever wearable exists in the market. And also through data analytics, we can support dynamic visualizations, integrated estimate and data analysis for calculating risks or having some predictive models. So we have used this platform at several projects with the different forms during the years. For instance, in the UNCAP Horizon project, we use that for monitoring patients with idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis. This goes in collaboration with University Hospital of Larissa and clinic, the pulmonary clinic there. So in this project, we have given each patient a tablet and pulse oximeter and blood pressure monitor and a spirometer, and we took measurements. We also applied a program for drug adherence, and the results were very impressive. They were published in several journals, and in fact, the clinic there took the award for in the Hellenic conference, medical conference for this project. The main outcome of the project is that the compliance to measurement and education adherence reached very high levels. And it was important that the patients had the increased feeling of safety, that someone is checking their measurements, is seeing their data, and if they miss to take measurement or they miss to take their medicine, someone will know. So we're very adherent to the whole program. Recently, we have used the same platform at a different form for post-COVID-19 monitoring. This is in collaboration with Evangelismos Hospital. And the idea there is to measure the effects of post-COVID and collect some data to see how people are recovering from COVID. This is also published in a journal. We produce some analytics. For instance, we can do some clustering on the data and see which days of the week a patient can have better measurements and see if these specific days something is happening in his life, so he can change his life habits. Or in another work, again with the University Hospital of Larissa, we built a tool for calculating the risk of having a stroke using data collected in the hospital and involving the monitoring of patients that had a stroke, and they were monitoring for 10 years after, and see the possibility of having a stroke again. So we have created a tool for that calculates the risks, and we indicated the most important factors that affect this risk. So the idea is that we can collect through the sensors and through the various technologies more holistic health data that also fall in the area of nutrition or molecular data like genomics. And the idea in another research project that recently concluded, the project is called the Crowd Health, was to unite all these fragmented PHRs and DHRs to a single repository and use such data to produce some knowledge about public health policies and how they can be applied. So the project actually promoted the idea of holistic health records. It's the update of electronic and personal health records with holistic data. And through the technologies of data cleaning, data aggregation, data anonymization, and also data analytics with forecasting, causal analysis, or risk assessment, or prediction models, we can produce some results to gain knowledge from the data. This knowledge can be supported, can be used to support the development of public health policies in the area of non-communicable diseases. The main contribution of this project is the notion of the public health policy model. The public health policy model is a structural representation of a health policy. And for this reason, we created an environment, a tool that we call Policy Development Toolkit. This toolkit serves as the front end of the data analytics platform with the policy maker. And the idea is to make the creation of a policy an easy and an easy and very useful process, finding all the complexity between the medical analytics and the data analytics tools. So we try to use a policy creator wizard that can help policymakers to use the data and make some predictions on policies and get some answers or some quizzes, some questions, without knowing a lot about the technology that is beneath the system. So what is the public health policy model that we produce in this project? Is actually a structural representation of a policy. So it is connected with a domain, for instance, obesity or cardiovascular or whatever. And the main component is one or more key performance indexes, which are a countable and measurable indication linked with a specific policy. And this KPI is actually what the data analytic model can calculate and can compute. The policy model also includes the population identification component that retrieves the data that are useful for the specific model. This is the ontology behind the KPI. So the KPI is the index of the policy that measures the efficiency of health policy. And it has a formula, it can use data, it has specific goals, report to actors, and belongs to a public health policy model and affects some stakeholders. For instance, an example is some health policy models that are dealing with obesity prevention, and these were applied using a database that is collected by schools in Slovenia, where they do measure some indicators about the condition of students and children during school in Slovenia. For instance, we can use some data from there and set some KPIs, such as what is the effectiveness of 1 hour extra physical activity in school, or what is the effectiveness of nutritional coaching and 1 hour of physical activity, and what is the prevalence of obesity in children. So you see that with one policy model, there are a lot of KPIs that can be connected. So through the system and using this policy model creation, the policymaker can run some simulations and see what is the effect of these specific policies and how is this differentiated between different regions in the area or different countries in Europe. So the user can also use the tool to do some adaptive visualization and see some information in charts, can make some queries on the data and also in the results, and like the one that I presented in this slide, or see the percentage of obese children of the current year and the forecast using the tools that we are changing using the data for the next year, and see the effect of a policy. So the idea is to run some simulations in the platform and see the effect and see if the specific policy is worth applying and what is the efficiency. So coming to the end of my talk, what are the lessons learned and the messages to take home from these works is that the simulation of health policies before their actual application can improve their effectiveness. This is a very popular idea nowadays in computers. It is the notion of digital twins. This is also employed in Industry 4 projects, and the idea is to have a digital analog of a real system, and whatever interactions or modifications are needed, it should be applied first to the digital twin, see the results, and then in the real cases. So this can help various applications in the healthcare domain, such as developing improved drugs and therapeutic procedures, providing real-time analysis of the health condition or patient of population, or provide the basis for evidence-based medicine and policy making. There's a discussion recently also in the States about reimbursement of drugs according to their performance, paid drugs per performance, and such technologies that can provide evidence of a patient condition and also some predictions about the future can be very useful on this idea of actually rewarding therapeutic procedures and drugs that have a positive effect and very efficient in therapeutic a patient. Of course, in all this work, we didn't keep the experts outside the loop. There are some results, some models, but all these were validated by doctors, by physicians, and also by experts in the domain. And of course, there are some other concepts, such as data biases, security and privacy, and the preservation of ethics that are not discussed in my talk here, but they should be taken into account. So thank you very much for your attention. You can see there my email and the URL of the lab for more information. I will be happy to answer to any questions if there are any.